Hey everyone, and welcome to Friday Live. Of course, today we're taking a bit more of a look at Powerwax and how you can use it to create some really exciting layers of colour in your artwork. So today I thought we'd take a look at a Rusty Coloured palette because, as many of you know, I do love me a little bit of rust and rust effects. So we're going to take a look at how you can use Powerwax with a variety of other materials in the Powertex Art Supply range, including the Powercolour pigments, the beautiful Colourtrix pigments, and also Bisters and liquid powers. So it's going to be a bit exciting, but let's head down to the art table and have a look at the piece that was actually in the picture that you've seen already, and we'll take a look at that. Okay, so you can see here that this actually is done with some collaged layers on some black Powertex. So I have collaged some papers down, and then there's 3D flecks on here and some sand and balls. Once that texture was complete, then essentially what I've done is I've used the wax, which has given it these beautiful rusty colours at the end. So you can see how it's got this beautiful red ochre and mocha colour, and then finished with a little bit of gold. So today I thought we'd just have a bit of a play, and actually I'll show you an artwork that I've just put a little bit of a contrasting layer on with some easy structure. So I'll pull that up for you. It is quite vibrant at the minute. Okay, so you can see that what's been done here is it basically was quite a brown canvas with the original Bisters. There are some absolutely gorgeous textures on here. And so what I thought I'd do is just add a few elements to create a bit of contrast to that already dark sort of browny layer. And then what we can do is we can now take our wax in to really emphasize some of these colors. So we can play with some turquoises and greens. Now, the benefit of using the turquoises and greens is that turquoise and the green, the blue color, actually will really highly contrast with your orange and reds of the rich rusty colours that we're going to be creating. So it will really pop and make your rust sing. So that is the real trick to getting a beautiful rusty palette in your artwork, is to really create that popping contrast by using the complementary colours of blue and orange together and getting that really gorgeous underlayer, and then taking your rust on top of that. So let's take a look and see how we go. Right, so of course what we will need is we'll need our red ochre and mocha Powercolours. So that's the red ochre and the mocha there. And I thought we'd also try some turquoise and lime green. So this is essentially what I've put through the stencil, is I've put some easy structure mixed with turquoise and also a bit of the lime green in some of these other ones, so that you get the variation in tone. So you could play a lot more with your colours mixed in to your easy structure in the same way as I have. As I say, this was just really a first layer. I could take a lot of variation into that as I'm actually doing the stenciling and playing with those Powercolours. So maybe that is another live for another time to show you some stenciling with adding some different colours in. All right, so maybe with our festive fun next week we can play with some colourful stenciling layers. So, of course, I'm going to need the Powerwax that we used last week. This is the large Powerwax, and you can see it's well used there from my stash. And so this is the 700 gram one. It comes in a 250 gram one, but this one is really good value in this size. So hey everyone, lovely to see you popping in. So Jan's here, welcome, and also Donna, Mariana, welcome, and Robin, lovely to see you guys, and lovely to have you on here live with me. So thank you for joining me, and I really do appreciate it. And make sure you hit lots of likes if you're excited about some of the things that I show you. So let's go. All right, so I've got wax on my palette. And of course, if you remember from last week, we do need to have a binder with the wax as well. So we've got some transparent Powertex and also some ivory Powertex here. But of course, today what I want to use is I want to use the transparent Powertex as the binder because it is going to dry clear and it's not going to change my colour. So because I want to keep those really rusty, beautiful rusty colours, I want to use the transparent so that I'm not actually affecting the colour of the wax by making it more pastel with the ivory. Alrighty, let's crack on with a bit of turquoise and a bit of green and have some pigment playful fun with Powerwax. All right. Now, I don't want so much pigment in there that it is too much pigment to the wax. So I'll mix that in. Can probably put a bit more in actual fact. Let's make it really, wow, this is going to be a pretty bright colour. Bit of the transparent Powertex as the binder. And I am just going to put a little bit more wax into there. Alrighty, now we have a nice waxy layer. Now remember, if I want it to be more opaque and less translucent, that would be done with the variation of how much pigment to wax there is. So this is quite a waxy layer, and I'm just going to actually take it into some of the background colours here. We have got some gorgeous textures happening on this piece. Now I'm going to get some of the green pigment as well. We'll just change that colour up a bit to a more greeny turquoise, and we can make another one with a bit more wax, I think. Robin's just saying wax on, wax off. You're hilarious. But yes, it definitely is. Wax on, wax off, Robin. Good on you. Lovely to have you here. You're so funny. Oh, thanks, Robin. She's just saying that we love that you do these Friday lives for us each week, Ash. So thank you. So I'm so thrilled that you really enjoy them. And I also really actually appreciate you guys being here with me and actually being live. So whilst I'm making the effort to do it every week, it's really lovely that you guys are making the effort to be here live with me so that I get some lovely comments along the way and I can have a chat as well. All right, so just take some of that into there. And so you can see how I can change the colours. Now, I made a little bit of a blue there by doing exactly the same colour that I'm butting up against. So the great thing with the wax is I can just rub it off. I can also take it onto some of these layers that I've already created with the stenciling. I don't really want to get into the background too much, so I'm really just trying to hit the tops of those textures. And of course I could do that a lot more carefully with tools and different things, but you can see how that variation is really, really lovely to just hit the tops of the textures with that, so that you're getting that change in colour like I was talking about before. So I can also I could also take some deeper colour in, and I could really play around with that, and then actually mix some lighter colour as well for the tops of those shells. So you can see I just went through to background there. But the real beauty of it is that if you don't like something, you can actually also just get a damp cloth and actually wipe it back. You can also work the wax into the actual textures and then take your next layer of colour over the top. So see how I'm getting the blue actually in the cracks. Let's just go for that sort of look. I've got a nice crackly bit here. So what I can actually do is I can actually fill those cracks with the wax. Get my knife. This is a nice big crack here. Okay, so I'm just going to rub the top of that back, just a little, not too much, so that we take the wax off the top layer and it's just actually in those cracks. So I'll hold that up for you. So see how that wax has really gone into the cracks, and then I can play with contrasting layers on the top as well. So I should have slipped my gloves on before I started, but I haven't done that. Never mind. So Robin's just asking, would it work using a dry brush technique or is the wax too wet? So what I find, Robin, is that I just prefer to use tools to actually put the wax on rather than a brush, because when you play with it, you'll see why. But experiment, use different things, use what you've got, try different things. It's all about playing and experimenting, and you'll discover as you work with the wax different ways of actually applying it as well, and you'll find your favourite ways of having a play. But I hope you're getting the idea. So let's just take, I should have put some yellow ochre out, but it doesn't matter too much. It's just a little bit of fun. So yellow ochre would be a really nice colour to use in this combination as well, and even some dark green might be quite nice. So of course what's going to happen is the turquoise will dry darker, but let's just get some more happening up here really quickly. throw some into these cracks here. I might just get my palette knife again. Who's excited? Who's already played with the wax a bit? So essentially you can use any water-based medium with the wax. So it is absolutely gorgeous to use. I've got some hair on there. My cat must have bombed my artwork. Bless the cat, right? You've all seen my cat, I'm sure, when he's come onto the live and snuck onto my table. So last week I talked about building up the wax in thin layers. So that's really what you want to be doing, is creating layers of texture with the wax and layers of colour, and that's where it will become really, really, really exciting. So, you know, like Robin says, wax on and wax off, and it really is just a case of that, playing, you know, with your damp cloths, rubbing on, rubbing off, and leaving it thicker where you want it thicker. And then if you don't like a particular area, you can always change it with your next layer of colour. All right, so let's just get some of that brown colour popping back through some of that. And I might just take the wax off around him so he stands out a little bit more again. There we go. Okay, so let's take some rusty colour on now. So you get the idea. We want to put some turquoise down onto, as an underlayer onto the base, to really create a gorgeous contrasting colour to the rusty layers that we're going to add next. And it's that balance. You want to retain the contrast, you want to keep some of your darks, you want to bring the light into your piece, and as you work on your piece it will evolve with all these beautiful layers. Robin's just saying, as all our pets do, they photobomb us sometimes, and Donna's saying not yet, she hasn't got any wax yet and she needs to get some in her next order, and it looks exciting. It is super exciting. It is so much fun to play with. You are going to love it, and it just gives you a different way of embellishing and finishing your piece to using acrylics or colour tricks or Powercolours with a medium to do your highlights. So it's just another way that you can finish and build your layers up and create your artwork. Remembering though that once you put your waxy layer down, you don't want to really be putting a liquid layer back on top of that, or it's just going to crack off because the wax will resist it. So yeah, so keep in mind those sorts of things, and otherwise you might find that the top layer will start to flake off, which doesn't matter if you actually resin it. But like I said last week, as soon as you resin your artwork, you'll lose that lovely waxy look, which is one of the delightful things with this particular product. Okay, so I'm going to change palettes just to a new palette here. Look, something I prepared earlier. Clean up my knife with my damp cloth here. And I have got turquoise on here, but it's not going to matter. So let's put a little bit of the red ochre out. I'll have to take a photo of my table at the end so that you can see the bomb of a mess I've made. Let's put some of this red out and a little bit of the Mocha as well. Don't put the Mocha on myself. Lynn Cooper's just saying she loves it. That's great, Lynn. So much fun. This is so playful. You guys are going to love it. And, you know, so just play and really, really enjoy the medium. And that's where the Powertex is just gorgeous, Powertex art supplies. And I just find some of these, especially the Powerwax, the fact that, you know, you can use it with any water-based medium. It's just so, so exciting. Alrighty, let's take a look at the Rusty Colours. I need some more wax. So I'm digging in here for a bit more. Oh, doesn't want to come out. There we go. It will come out now. And a bit more transparent Powertex on there as well. Nice to see you here, Lynn. Thank you for joining us. Christine, lovely, welcome. So is this your first live that you've been on? She's just saying, thanks, Ashley, I learned a lot from your video, fabulous. Now, I just have to remember what I've got here. So this is my red ochre. So away we go with a bit of the colour and put a bit of transparent in to bind it. Remembering that it's not going to dry pastel, it will actually dry that red ochre colour. Oh, lovely. Look at that. And then we can just pop that on in the same way. Now, what we want to do is we actually want to create this as a rusty layer against the turquoises. And so you can actually come right next to some of those turquoisey colours. And as I say, it's going to dry redder than that. So see how the orange of the red ochre is really making that turquoise colour pop. I'll hold it up a bit closer to the camera in a minute so you can get the idea. And I don't want to lose all of those beautiful layers that I've got underneath. I do want to retain some of those, but it's always, because I'm doing a live, it is always the risk, because I do tend to get a little bit heavy-handed when I'm showing people, just because I'm demonstrating and I'm kind of rushing a little bit with less thought than I would normally give to my artwork. So you can see here, you can see how the turquoise is popping really against that red ochre colour, and it's popping even more than in some of the other areas. And the texture of it is just gorgeous. So it is really beautiful and waxy. And so I just want to make a decision about where I'm going to come with some more of that. So we can take some in here maybe, just for fun, into some of those cracks. And that's, of course, where I can then just gently get in and take that top layer off. So I can use, just making a stretch here for a bit of a sponge. So I don't want to take it all off, but I can actually get in there. So this is actually a dry sponge that I'm using. And see how it's lifting some of it and leaving some of it. And then I can use a damp cloth to just pop some of that colour again. So it's very subtle in terms of what I've just done there. So I'm not sure that you can see that too well, but it gives you the idea. So I'm actually putting the wax into those cracks. Oh, that looks nice. Let me hold that up for you so you can see that. Look at that. Look how that wax has gone into those cracks. Isn't that gorgeous? So Christine's just saying that she's been watching some of my old lives and she'd love to get to one of Natalie's classes next year. Christine, you will love Natalie's classes. So if you guys are in Brisbane or Queensland, somewhere there, find a trainer near you. There's some beautiful trainers up there in Queensland. And Natalie, of course, is in Highgate Hill. So if you're centre of Brisbane, then she is fantastic to chat to, and they've all done some amazing artwork. So plenty of trainers around Queensland for you guys to get in touch with if you're there. And thank you for joining my live and coming and checking out and having a look. And I think it is always nice if you can do things with other people as well. All right, so that's the that's the pigments, the beautiful pigments with the wax. So I'm just putting a little bit of transparent in with this pigment, and then I'm going to pull some wax across into that. So this is actually the Mocha, so it's a slightly different colour. It's a more orangey colour than the red ochre. It's a really nice colour to use in combination, and you know, you'll find it within your Rustic Colour Palette that it just is really, really, really gorgeous. All right. So I can pop some of that on some of this red ochre layer that I did previously. And see how I'm just building the layers up. And because I've got some beautiful textures underneath, it really starts to pop those textures and emphasize some of what's happening. But what is really nice is when you get the underlayers coming through. Don't want to fill those cracks with the brown, but we want some of that turquoise to pop through. The other thing that is absolutely gorgeous is the colour tricks with the wax. So let's just take a quick look at that. I'm sort of conscious of the time a little bit now, but that's okay. I'm sure you guys are just loving it. So this is the rich gold in the colour tricks, and these colour tricks pigments, they are just stunning. You don't need a lot of pigment with these. They are very, very intense colour, and a little bit does go a long way. And so I can get that pigment. I've got a very dirty palette knife here. I might just give it a little clean. There we go. And I can use the pigment with the wax, the Colour Tricks Metallic. And it's now going to be a gold. Woohoo. And a little bit of transparent binder in there. Okay. And then I can actually take that onto my piece, and it's going to create a gorgeous highlight on some of it, depending on where I take it. Copper is also gorgeous, so really nice to play with your rusty layers. So what I'm doing is I want it to feel like the light is streaming down from above, streaming down through this bit here. And so I think you're starting to get a sense of how you can build those layers of colour up. And I think that is really, really the key thing, is to really play with those layers of colour. And I don't think you can see it I don't think it really does it justice. That is really gorgeous on that surface there. And it really looks like the light is sweeping down from above into there. So I'm just going to take a little bit more of that onto this area here where I've got the blue in the cracks. And again, if I don't like something that I do, I can actually just take it off as well and redo my turquoise layer if I get too carried away. And I know Robin's going, what, you get carried away? Never. So I don't know who the person is who's saying she would like to try some of this on her photo transfers, because your name's not coming up. So if you just let me know your name, that would be lovely. And so, yeah, the wax on photo transfers would be absolutely glorious and so beautiful. So I would just finish and keep playing with the different colours and layering these textures until I'm happy with how this piece is looking. So I hope that you have thoroughly enjoyed that. Now, as well, you can add your liquid powers into your wax in the same way as I did the pigment. So remember that you do need to put some of the transparent Powertex in it so that it acts like a binder. But you imagine using some of the green liquid power and the blue liquid power. Yeah, you imagine using the green and the blue liquid power with the wax as well, and a little bit of transparent Powertex, and the intensity that those colours will actually create for you. So just remember, you need the smallest amount, and sometimes it's better to actually use a dropper or a pipette to actually get a bit of colour out so that you're not overspraying and doing too much colour on your piece. So then, of course, with the wax, you can play to your heart's content as well. I have sprayed Bista on top of the wax, and I imagine spraying the liquid powers on top of the wax would also be really nice. It creates a really gorgeous beaded effect. You can play with heating up the wax, and you can just play and see what happens. And that is really the best way of learning how to use it, is just get some, have a play with different mediums, and you are going to love this medium. And as you play with it, you will develop a visual language around what you can actually do with it. So that's where it becomes really exciting, is when you take these beautiful art supplies, you push them in your own direction, you find ways of working that you love with it, and just have some glorious play with your mixed media artworks. So I'll just make sure I've covered any questions. So Alison's here from Northern Ireland. That's very exciting. And Mariana just did a Lady in Rags with Natalie. Excellent. So it looked like a fun workshop. I'm looking forward to seeing the results. And so don't forget, on that note, that if you have created something with Powertex, we would love to see what you've created, and where the best place to connect with us is on the Powertex Australia Hub. So you can join there and you can connect with us and share your artworks and get feedback on anything that you need. And sometimes I even do a little live on what people would like to know. So that's where it's really great to hop into the group there. Now, don't forget that if you do join that group, it is really, really important. Please make sure that you answer the questions and accept the group rules, because it's all about, we want to really have people in the group who love working with Powertex and just want to share their creative ideas. And we have such a fantastic group there. It is really friendly, great community, great sharing of ideas. And so, yeah, please just make sure you answer all the questions when you request to join. Other than that, guys, today I have used the pigments. I have used the turquoise Powercolour, the lime green Powercolour. I used the Mocha and the red oxide, and also the rich gold. And as I say as well, the copper is also really gorgeous in that combination of colours. So try your favourite colours and think about complementary colours in your artwork. Think about light and dark. Think about contrast. Have a fantastic, playful weekend. I hope I've inspired you to create, because that's why I'm here, is to inspire you guys to really get out there and create and have some play with some artwork, because it is just so great for the way we feel. It's uplifting and it makes us happy. So have a joyous, creative weekend. And if you need anything, remember you can go to the Powertex website as well. So next week I will be doing festive fun, and we'll be having a little bit of fun with some Christmas ideas. So I'm going to do that over the next couple of weeks. So ciao for now. Have a lovely weekend. Bye.